mgbasa Buwa Tv. Afọ mbụ Kaira Nyeluchukwu. Anyị nọ n'obodo Aguleri n'ụbọchị nke taa. Ịbịa nene ụlọ nke a na-alụlụ nwaanyị di ya rapụrụ, nwaanyị di ya nwụrụ. Ezinna anyị bụ Princess Stella Adaeze Odua wee sị ka o nye ya ụlọ ebe ọ ga-edobe isi ya. Tata anyị na-ebe a, ị na-anya n'ebe a nnọ kịta ya na-afụ ndị na-egwu ana. Ihe a na-akpọ ndị oyibo kpọ foundation ka ha na-ele. Ị na-anya fụ ndị na-egwu ana, fụ ndị na-emegasị ka o wee bụ na ụlọ pụtara bụrụ ihe ebi n'ime ya. Mgbe emechakwara anyị ga-ewetakwara unu ụfọdụ ihe dịkwa n'ime ya na ihe akpọkwara interview banyere ndị a na-emere ihe ọma nka. E nwekwara ndị dị iche iche a na-emere ya, mana ebe anyị nọ kịta bụ nke Beatrice Ive Emelum. Ka emesịa
ife m nwere ike ikwu na-ebu na m na-enye Chineke nnukwu ekene ka o ji wee bụ na ụdị ebe a na-eme n'ụbọchị taa na Beatrice a di ya bụ ezigbo enyi m nwoke ka ọ bụ wee nwụrụ na ọ bụ na m nwere ego na m emegoli ebe dị n'ọfụ a na-ekpe ekpele Chineke wee mee o wee bụ n'osiwo n'aka Stella Odua wee pụta na ya alụli ya data ụlọ taa ka o nwee ebe obi ekene ka anyị pụrụ. Anyị na-ekene Chukwu nnukwu ekene wee na-ekenekwu ya bụ ịyọm nwaanyị nnukwu ekene ka o si wee tie n'obi pụta wee na-enyeli ndị ogbenye aka na ọ dịrị izi.
O mere ibe kwesịrị ekwesị, onye bụ onye etu anya o kwesịrị ekwesị ka di eji nwụ ma ele eji mechi ibe niile o wee bụ na di ya nwụ o wee bụ na alụwalị ya ụlọ. Achụrụ ya achụ n'ụlọ, o nwere ebe na-achụrụ mmadụ achụ n'ụlọ. Anọrọ m n'ụlọ ba achụ ọnya ele eji chụgasị ya ọkwa na ebe asị ya pụta o wute m nnata nsị ya na ọ bụla mụ na ya ije m mbulu kama mụ na gị ebulu n'ovuru ma anyị pụta ụtọ anyị na-anya onyinyo na ọ maka ele m agbalị nyanya ba ncha amacha so o tọrọ m ụtọ ri n'ebe elu unu ji mesị na Chineke ya nọnyeli Stella Odua.
Because we learned that this is a foundation laid for a widow.
Yes.
Commissioned by the distinguished Princess Stella Adaeze Odua.
Yes.
Is there anything you have to tell us more about it?
Yes, today is a historic day in my village. This is the first time a senator, this is the first time a lawmaker, this is the first time an elected personnel or appointed personnel in government is building a house for somebody, a widow in my community. We have never seen such. Ordinarily, not the duty of a lawmaker to build a house for somebody. His duty is lawmaking. But this woman, Senator Stella Odua, has transformed lawmaking process into project execution. We have been having senators in this senatorial zone since 1979, but you cannot equal any senator with this woman from above.
Tata bụ 8th of February. Ka anyị bụ ndị otu Stella Odua movement bịa na-ele foundation n'ụlọ Stella Odua na alụ widow Beatrice Emelibe na akamata na ndụ. Ebe anyị na-ekwu bụ na o nwere ekwensu nọ n'ọnwa ya sị na ama alụcha n'ọnwa, o nwere ajọ mmadụ ya sị na alụcha n'ọnwa, anyị alụcha n'ọnwa mana akwụbaka n'ọnụ ya akwụbaka n'ọnụ ya ọ bụ ezigbo ndụ na arụ ya na mmụ ya ihe ọma ebido mmeri ya ekwu n'ụlọ agha kịta ibiri elu ya anyị alụcha na Jizọs Kraịst bụ ya nwa.
Biko gwa ya afa gị na onye ebe bụ.
Beatrice Emelife. Abụ m onye Anando, bụrụ onye aka ma na-atọ na ndọ wọdụ 3.
Okay, anyị na-aghọta na ebe anyị nọ kịta bụ ụlọ ọfụlụ a na-alụ ụlụ gị.
A na-alụlụ m ụlọ ọrụ di m nwụrụ anwụ. Di m nwụrụ na Septemba, akwa ya na Oktoba ka ọ nwụrụ. Agwasị ka echeta m ka alụ ọrụ m ọnụ.
Ka onye si ka echeta gị?
Idoju Ogugu gwara Stella Odua, anti mama anyị.
nnukwu nna anyị bụ Princess Stella Adaeze Odua wee gbaa gị ume. O
ana m ekene ezigbo ekene ya na ezinụlọ ya si ya na ọya adịla m na ọlụsila anyị ụlọ nga na ọya lụta ezigbo ibe m na-eji ya na-ama atụ elie ọ na-aga si na nke bụ obere na-eji ya ọ ya enwe nnukwu iwe ọ na-eme ọ na-agali ya na mgbe
ọ ga-adị mma. Nna Ififi ọma
daalụ.
Biko gwa ya anyị fụrụ n'Igbo okpu mmemme nwere afọ a na-etu gị iche.
Enwere afọ na-etu m mụa bụ Samson Emeka onye ụmụ mbụ ọdịnaya mere m ka mbụ eji agụ na-echibewe ọmalụ m. Ya bụ abụ echichi m.
Nna ekenekwa m nnọọ anyị si ka anyị jụọ gị ije anyị pụtara
maka abalị lu ada afụ nwe ụdị oji n'abalị onye ka anyị ji wara anyị wee pụta.
Ya bụ na nkọwa gị wee bụrụ na
n'ive Stella na-eme na Anambra North n'ive o megolo eme n'ive ofu na akọ ya eme anyị mụrụ maka na amụrụ ya na mma onye a mụrụ na mme na-emere obodo ngara n'ebe nna ya mkporijuru afọ ịbịa na onwe ọma mma mmadụ ma etu ya gbacha so I was no na second 10 ya ka ọ chọọ ije ka ọ gbagoro n'etu ebe dị eke ọrụ maka na ije senate izi eburu honorable member ijekwuo nke bụ eburu ranking ịbanyezie na nke ịtọ eburu senior ibuzie senior ibe ọbụla na-eme mazi ere isoro na-ekezi na-ewe na-ege n'ụlọ anyị ka anyị wepụta.
Ya bụ na akwanyere aka n'ukwu ya jebe ka ya nọdụ ebe ọ nọ.
Anambra North nọ ebe a bụ na anyị ka anyị gụọ ọrịa ọfọ sụọ ọrịa ọfọ na ana etu esi jee Abuja na 2023 nwuo mmeri ma ọ bụ onye na-apụta ma onye a na-apụta onye Adaeze Stella.
So far, today we'll be talking about reducing poverty in Anambra North Senatorial Zone through formal and vocational education of rural populace. Like a tree, poverty has many roots, but among the many causes of global poverty, one factor stands out: education. Not every person without an education is living in extreme poverty, but most of those living in extreme poverty do lack a basic education. Those living below the poverty line will also be more likely to keep their children out of school, which means that their children will also have a greater chance of living in poverty. Education is often referred to as the great equalizer. It can open the door to jobs, resources, and skills that a family needs to not just survive, but thrive. Access to high-quality primary education and supporting child well-being is globally recognized solution to the cycle of poverty. This is, in part, because it also addresses many of the other issues that can keep communities vulnerable. Many educational programs will focus on students' acquisition of formal knowledge and training, and we often equip them with the technical skills necessary to take up paid employment in a specific sector. The poverty elimination policy of the distinguished Senator Princess Stella Adaeze Odua, using formal and vocational education, have lifted a handful of youths and families from poverty. Below is the story of Ugochukwu, who moved from grass to grace through the intervention of the distinguished senator.
My name is Ugochukwu Francis Osakwe. I'm from Aklo, in about local government area, Anambra State. I want to tell you a little story about myself that relates to our distinguished Senator Stella Odua. One blessed morning, I went for morning mass at the St. Teresa Catholic Church in Aklo, about local government, where our parish priest announced about a scholarship that distinguished senator is going to train some youths from different communities in the Anambra North at Methodological Training Institute, Onitsha, which I applied as well. and God has may have it for the entrance exam I passed. So I applied to study instrumentation and control system engineering in the school Metallurgical Training Institute, which lasted for 3 years. And our stay in Metallurgical Training Institute, distinguished Senator Stella Odua, she paid our school fees, accommodation, and as well she gave us 30,000 naira per year as a stipend, saying for us to take care of ourselves and maybe pay for other bills, and we can even buy books from there. And I stayed 3 years, studied in instrumentation and control system engineering, and I graduated from Metallurgical Training Institute Onitsha at the year 2019. From there, we were given a letter of going to IT industrial training for 1 year, which I applied mine in Julius Berger for the second Niger Bridge site at Onitsha Bridgehead, which I was asked to come for an interview. With the knowledge I gathered from the school through the help of our able Senator Stella Odua, so I was able to pass the interview, though the appointment they gave me was not what I read in school, so it made me great. It even added more values to my life, making me having double profession in life. These are things I never thought of, but with the help of our distinguished Senator Stella Odua, I believe that God has changed my life with that. So with what I did in Julius Berger for the second Niger Bridge, they gave me an appointment of being a welder there, and after my IT, 1 year IT there, I was able to apply for them to employ me as a staff, and with the help of God and Princess Stella Odua, I was employed and I'm a staff in Julius Berger now. So from that place now I earn a living. I receive at least something to help myself and also to help my families. So I wish to appreciate Mass Life Foundation, through which we got our scholarship into Metallurgical Training Institute, and the chairman of Mass Life Foundation, person very Reverend Father Donna and Ozo, and also there are other coordinators, person like Okay, another person like Tony and Mr. Chas Omona. These are the coordinators which took care of us, that have always been there for us, taking care of us, attending to our school problems and so forth. So my greetings to them. I appreciate you all.
So I also want to appreciate our distinguished senator. Through her, I accessed a loan, to the COVID-19 loan, which I have used. Behind me, you can see the yam farm and cassava farm. And through the loan, I also run a mini poultry farm, which turkey farm, and I also sink a borehole with the money, and I still want to continue with. I had the intention of running a poultry fish pond farm. That's why I got that power force of there, and I think that is my intention of sinking the borehole, despite the domestic use. So I also want to say it's very big and heavy thank you to the senator. She has done well to me. She has changed my life. I never thought I would be a kind of person that I am today. Through her, things have been good for me. With this, even next year, I cannot be hungry even if I'm shut down from work today. So I say a very big thank you to her. Thank you.
Welcome back. A life has been touched. A change has been made. Congratulations, Ugochukwu. Till we meet again, I am Kyra Nyelichukwu and this is Buwa TV.
Hello, you. Good day to you, and I hope you're having a beautiful day just like me. Welcome to another exciting episode of your favorite entrepreneurship program, Egombidafia. I am your host, Shekube Obiaku Ndiogazi. For those of you who may not know, this program is sponsored by the distinguished Senator Stella Adezenemogo Odua, the senator representing Anambra North Senatorial Zone. On today's show, we shall be talking about small-scale businesses, which one can do, especially if you are an employee, to support your major source of income. This type of business is popularly called side hustle. I'm sure some of you must have heard of that. Most times, you hear people who already have a job wanting to have another business for extra cash. This side hustle of theirs helps them cater for their daily expenses while they await their monthly salaries. This is not peculiar to salary earners alone anyway. Some entrepreneurs may choose to expand their already existing business or to add a new one just to make an extra cash. But what are those businesses you can do as an employee of a firm that will definitely not affect your office performance? Well, if you ask me, I'll suggest you learn a skill. Yes, every Nigerian today ought to learn at least one skill. Having a skill is a lifesaver sometimes. There are some skills that are easy to learn, yes, and can be done right from the comfort of your home and still generate sustainable income for you. As a lady, for example, you can either learn how to sew clothes, make hairs, you can learn how to make wigs, even fix nails and do makeup. These services can be rendered from the comfort of your home to your family members, friends, and neighbors just for a token. Subsequently, these side hustles may become the main hustle, you don't know, or eventually be expanded. I know the popular Nollywood actress who is also a producer by name Jessica Obasi, who left her high-paying banking job just to pursue a career in acting, which is her passion. And I also know of a fast-rising Nigerian musician, Thames Baby. I'm sure you must have heard of her, who also left her banking job to venture into making music. Now, they are both excelling in their career paths. Of course, a whole lot of people are still happily excelling in their banking jobs. The point to note here is that you should have a plan of what you really want to achieve in life. Find the path, have a plan, work on it gradually, and see what comes out of it. But remember, the only constant thing in life is change. Don't stay on that boring career forever. Find something you enjoy doing and start working towards it. And maybe, just maybe, that will turn out to be the exciting part of your life yet to be discovered. Now back to our story. Having said all that, let us see the success story of our inspiration for today, Miss Mabel Chinwe Ekweme, a marketer who benefited from Egombidafia grant from Senator Stella Adezenemogo Odua, and of course, used the money judiciously. Enjoy her story.
My name is Ekweme Mabel Chinwe. I'm part of those that benefited from Egombidafia during September. Before then, it has not been easy though, but I do go to work. I have a job. Then, before then, I was able to benefit from that, which I use for side business too. Like I do make perfume, Dito, liquid soap, yeah, and I do subscription, airtime, NEPA bill. I do that with my phone through the help of the little fund. Yeah, so I would like to also appreciate our mama because she has done a lot. It is not easy. So I wish to thank God for using her to bless me. Before the phone came, I do the business, but it was not that steady. It was once in a while, maybe when I receive salary, but I'll use part of it to go to the market and buy the necessary things. But after the fund, I was able to get some, as in to do the business, most especially that of perfume. I'll be selling it often and often because that is one most customers do patronize me. Yeah. This is my ethanol, and this is my glycol. This is the alcohol that you use for the perfume. You just want to make a little quantity of it. And this is the glycol, just a drop of it, not much. Then you add your fragrance of your choice, after which you shake it very well. And these are the already made perfume. I've done that before now. The challenges I'm facing right now is, sometimes when you get to the market, the cost of the equipment is not like before. You understand? Things are putting money on a daily basis. So, and I still need more capital so that the business will grow. You understand? To take it to the next and higher level. My plans for going forward, once I'm still trying to make sure I save from the ones I'm doing. Then by God's grace, when I have much, then I have to buy in larger quantity so that I'll be able to distribute to people in the market too. I'll have to say a big thank you to our mama. She has really done well. I've been hearing about what she has been doing, but now I've been able to witness it. I have to say a big thank you, Mama. And I pray that God will continue to bless you and take you to a higher level in Jesus' name. Amen.
Now, that was an interesting story, right? But then, do you think Miss Chinwe would have utilized her grant well if she didn't have plans before then? This is why you need to set your priorities right, because you never know. Opportunities like this may come for you too. And to the woman who is making all this come alive, Senator Stella Adezenemogo Odua, thank you and never stop doing good. Beautiful and success stories like this gives me joy. That is not the end of today's episode. No, I have another fascinating story of a woman who is still finding her path to comfort. But she is super grateful for her journey so far. Her story is that of a consistent woman who is not ready to quit, no matter how difficult it gets, because she believes that it will get better with time. This story will inspire you to keep pushing and have a positive mindset towards success. A whole lot of you jump from one business to another in confusion and anxiety, but that is not the solution. You need to master your craft, stay focused and be consistent. Give it time and you shall see positive results. Now, listen attentively to her story.
I'm a graduate of UNN. I study health education. Okay, I'm going to nature game. So during then in camp, they were telling us about science. So on the side, they still come by into tailoring. But when I went into tailoring, I learned that much of Tana acquire a lot of things, both machine and money. I had done when Omega engage with video guy. So most of the tailoring. Fukwana into the labor market, youth doesn't tailoring much. And can add one more new skill to it. Just a gem more equal. You can know equal Boga can relocate it to Onitsha. Relocate him to Onitsha because I know Bromo Onitsha, I know maybe it's Bromo Enugu. There's Onitsha Fukano Bifena Gafia every day today. You got for your game 2, 3, 4 and find a location near required you. I even know where more do, but the process of about this hand fan. On the problem Mosizilia, what the lucky, mad inform Mama about a gumbidafia. The lucky when I tinya from Nimia, Jenya me gumbidafia. I was so happy from a gumbidafia kanji well kuzu gonji more this skill. More I must say maybe I may make of my thank God I'm getting customer. On the process I learned this to add it to it because onye again when you get occasion. Oga like kwaka when you doing that she will never qualify hand fan. For the way each occasion, no need a hand fan because then we invent a gun or heat and then you need hand fan. What to mutasifa. And my challenge is now with finance and machine because wakita equasi duka more go the finishing point. Or when dinner book here, my own added advantage to it but to a malakwa machine. Nga like it can jemo because on the Yoruba beef and aquachili. Nga like kwa can jemo kwa kesi aquachi dio. Kanjilaka because when most times we be only emergency. Imam moto ega kwachi delay and the customer he promise go ni get deliver earlier, it will affect the job if you didn't meet up with the time. So mo an wem ga like keta obuna ga nso with the ego mbida afia mbido keta nje wele mu kwa ka esi akwachi di nwe machine ni ga like kwa ka nwekwa mi ndi nga kuzikweli di olu ka fa nwa nwekwa ike bido kwa otu ansi bito because Nigeria otu ano keta okwa olu adiro otu ai go so obuna nno na eche white collar job ma nwete white collar job but with this and we went to go day-to-day activities in Jelili every day. I thank God for that. And make an equal mommy name mogo or mweze or support him with this ego bida and when we can only bido. Now you're more make all monga like it I establish and wear my own shop. We can display my skills. Kabu bead, I don't know when we bead and we wire. This is bead. This is wire work. Kabu wire work. I can't book on cable because of twice a bouquet by the measurement of the person. Measure is young where be kabuko. Kabu the big work, kabu the wire. Ni made the wire anywhere gold, where silver, different designs. So all choice when you choose. And the material they choose the color because the man one way color you get use for the bead or the wire or the door. Kabu the wire of it again. Kabu kwa wire. Kabu bead. You need the baby didn't use go there for a long time and each week you use the same abon every no the dusty. You can turn oil inside. You turn oil inside. You debia in a place, hang it in a place, or you keep it in a place. Dust to make it in a bonny as the cap. Or maybe once in 1 year if you want to wash it because for a while the bead we command is shiny. It's in your mon and milli or below mon and milli. It's in here anime because not sometimes some of these material na chakwa so it's in your na millions you put here rinse to sa it is a use velo maybe then Nkabo kwa that first tailoring work mo kwa nne nwekwa olu na akwa but all through madam ebe m lol because mu akara onwe machine nke m duto machine galasi lol so na abụ nkwasi olu kita nke abụ nke nkwa na nke akita nka ga-eje na nke akita je buko finish the necessary things there ndị nke a need ọkụ kita ngeji gago mu this designs on it nka na work on it. These are the skeleton nje made the hand fan kabo already made in megole nke megole eme Nka game and I'm work on it today now. Luckily for a meet here. Cab hand fan and kaga low today. For India she be game use here on Saturday. So like this work now, this is a sand bead. It's more tedious than to compare to this work now. So but the price there is nowhere any stable price in the year. Because then we can only abona in Ararera. Onwe gabi na obulu first time customers can meet your customer and I'll look at the person. Obulu onye bu jeep bia mma no ego. I will give the person though I am normal price that will favor me or favor the person but onwe gabi and he wants to advertise, he wants to patronize me. So nge mekwa ka favor ya favor kwa more. The minimum price in the bead work to 13,000 naira. 12,000 depending on anchozi we pull onye ego. But this wire work, because the material for the wire now is costly. a bunch of this now, this one that you're seeing now here. Because I've just taken half a bit from it. Half of this now is 20,000. I buy the bunch as 35,000. And even I may use it for maybe, and if I don't use it well, it will just spoil. This has spoiled now. Okay, maybe go kita. $200 kita, maybe go. I can use it again. So the wire work, if I'm not charging about 25,000. Before I charge me at 20,000. But due to materials, I rise it go. Like this material before, we buy it at 700 naira. Now it's 1,005. The pad in they use because I'm not add the pad, add the calico. Go see ike. I did my like and no see all my day very weak. In an eye, I can get in your pad, they reduce them good to go in your for quite the difference in all you need. But in iron and car, for how firm and car the kito see and you can use it 10 years or can do to your mind you. I come when they got saying I am a market in earlier 7,000, 5,000. I see Jen a market go. If we talk women market, it can't stand like this because of mass production. I don't do mass production. It's better I give you quality than quantity. So I sell the beads at 13,000 minimum. The wire at 25,000. And only now more because only get the more. Omuwaga mugo say muge provide the materials. Nyawa geji more. I will teach the person everything. But the person will be the go from the first stage because it's just like this wire is just like the secondary stage. The bead will be the primary stage. And a lot of things in Gakuzile about the way this secret in Kabu my own secret in GMO more different. Because I add a lot of things to it. I add my own spicy to it to make it to look unique and different. Because in Kabu my market skill, all yenji with my customer, I go back for sick ajechi yakwaza abayin on a gallon. So onye ga muolo minimum unga charge onya is 50,000 naira because it requires a lot of things. Kobulo ebido ngo wire nge jinyi or maybe it will be a waste of money to me and time too. Ochona onya all how serious because mu akamulol is only 3 months kanji motola because I added my time and interest too. So all this serious oga motor the all are in 3 months. And in 3 months, I will give the person other people's or to motivate the person more so that on allo diolo or man if I bolo mad bro no jojo solo jam all because I lo molo ndi mad a lot with onye kuzel my bozu kuzel mall and onye maka motivate him more oh to see because he can on allo so nke gị na madam ị na-enye ya oli jam all you won't start well. So mfukwa onye ngakuzi nwụrụ ọlụ ga-ewepụta time ya wepụta everything. I don't mind ikuzikwela onye ọlụ because I didn't have such opportunity because out there when you teach him all but all the finance na about the problem. I can easily teach the person or once so get interest but nkuzisi ele ọ ga-anọkwa work global algorithm for the moment because the impact in your level can relieve home some works too and to assist me. So far I did all easy because I'm not the only one in the family and my parents have been supporting me. But through this now support is young, not assist to the family. Money ego na abia na the all, but the more na abia kwa can ego material and other things is support for my upcoming siblings. Dream umbu to establish a big shop, a fashion show shop. Again, when I display both these fashion women wears and because they specialize to be female wears. So specialized showcase say this is my female wears, this men calves. I would like to showcase more on fully on fashion house, both male and female, because accessories, all the things I do is more on male and female accessories. So I would like to have a very big shop, a showroom shop that people will come, and with that, and get employed for upcoming graduates or young youths that doesn't have a work because Ogabe means again, it creates skill and employment for other people that don't have any work. And in that advice you to now about skill is good. Because Obanankan on HR is 10 years now of my graduate without job. But thank God with this.
Well, women are indeed strong creations that hardly give up and are always positive. That story definitely deserves a major follow-up, and I pray she gets that which her heart so desires. A big thank you to our sponsor, Adezene Mogo Omoeze, Senator Stella Odua, whose benevolence is speaking volume in the lives of those young women. May your oil never run dry, ma. So, viewers, this is where I draw the curtain for today's episode on Egumbidafia Entrepreneurship Program. I'm sure you enjoyed the show. I remain your beautiful host, Chekube Obiaku Ndiogazili. Always stay safe, stay beautiful, and never give up on your dreams. Bye for now.
Thank you very much, sir, for having us and granting this private interview with you. So, in recognition of your tenacity and selflessness to humanity, a lot of persons has been asking questions on who is the man behind the Menax Hospital. So, and we're here today with you, sir. So, what we want is for you to give us a biography of you so that they too can hear you.
Okay, I didn't start Menax Hospital, my brother did. My immediate elder brother, Dr. Tim Menake. When he started it, I was in the United Kingdom working. But the pressure of work was so much for him. A lot of people told me unless I came back to help, his health might be affected. I had always thought of myself as a doctor working in a teaching hospital setting. Never really gave a thought about private practice. By then, I was already a fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons. So, in August 1974, I had to rush back from the UK to help him out in Menax Hospital. And I've been stuck since that time. So we were running the hospital together until we went into politics full time. And that's when the baton was passed over to me completely. Biography, where do I start? I was born in 1936, 27th of December, 1936, which if you check, was on a Sunday. I was probably lucky not to have deformities because God was supposed to be resting on that day. So I was probably an emergency product. Usual elementary school and so on. Then in 1951, I entered Government College Umuahia. Left in 1956. Did some teaching, New Bethel College, Onitsha. To my credit, that I was the first person to teach science in that secondary school. 1959, left Nigeria for the United Kingdom. and spent a year at Paisley Technical College in Scotland for my A-levels. It's now the University of Paisley. In 1960, did my A-level in the summer of 1960. And the same year, entered University of Manchester to study medicine. Qualified in 1965. In UCH Ibadan, in the Department of Pathology. Unfortunately for me, I arrived in Nigeria on the eve of the second coup of 1966. And I reported at UCH. After reporting, I rushed back to Lagos, and I was persuaded by my people to rush back to the east, which I did. I was employed as a medical officer and the government of Eastern Region, posted to Owerri General Hospital. In 1967 or 68, the University of Biafra Teaching Hospital was started, and I resigned from the civil service to join the new teaching hospital set up in the Department of Pathology. And then I was eventually co-opted into the army. My first posting was in Enugu. Screening will be recruits into the army. Then when Enugu fell, I found myself at Army headquarters in Ogo, where I was medical liaison officer at Army headquarters. From there, when Ogo fell, we moved to Ihube. And from Ihube, I was posted to Garrison Hospital, to head Garrison Hospital in Umuahia. And just before Umuahia fell, I was moved to MDS Ihe, to head MDS Ihe, Ungwa area. And that was by January 1970, we had to evacuate MDS Ihe. At that time, we had over 1,000 patients in the hospital. And we moved, first of all, to Mbise, and then the bridge was blown, the bridge over the Imo River. We kept moving. Then the last place we settled was at Umuhu, near Ihioma. That was, and then the war ended. And we said goodbye to each other, reverted back to our positions as civilians. We went back to the East Central State, was posted to Abakaliki General Hospital. And then the announcement by Gowan that everybody should go back to where they were working before the outbreak of hostilities. So I went back to UCH Ibadan. as an SHO in Department of Pathology, eventually a registrar in the Department of Pathology. That was around April 1970. And UCH Ibadan, I found I had about 3 letters by one of my bosses when I was doing my housemanship in Manchester, Mr. John Haggerden. And the 3 letters each had 1 sentence. And that was, confirm you are alive. So there were 3 letters. Obviously, they were written when I hadn't arrived. Then I confirmed with 1 sentence too. Sir, I hereby confirm I am alive. Then he wrote and wrote, I want you to come back to the United Kingdom and continue with your, what they call residency now. You have studied in surgery, which was my ultimate aim. So you see, it was a bit difficult, you know. Where was I to start when I went, going back to Britain, going for interviews and all that? So I told him my difficulties. I'm really tired. You know, a lot of us were disillusioned after the war. What was it all about, sort of? Anyway, so I wrote back to him. I said, I've gone through this traumatic experience, and I don't want to be pushed around anymore by going to interview, probably feeling I might be better than other people, and I'm dropped, you know, that sort of thing. And he said, Mr. John Haggerden wrote back and said, who has told you, discussed interview with you? I said, get back to the United Kingdom and a job will be waiting for you. So I planned and went back. I arrived in Manchester on the 3rd of August 1971. I think I was overjoyed getting out. By the time I got to Runway, which is the airport in Manchester, I was too tired to proceed to the hospital. So I checked into the airport hotel and did not go back until the following day, which was 4th of August. And I had such a wonderful reception. I was shown my room, the doctor's quarters. There was a banner there, welcome back, Gabby. You know, I felt so appreciative. And that's the beginning of my pursuit. The following day, the 5th of August, I started work. The Park Hospital, Davyhulme. Just 1 month into the job, Mr. John Haggerden's secretary came to me. And the boss wanted me to do the primary FRCS, a fellowship in Royal College of Surgeons, which was to be in January 1972. And I said, how come? I've been out there in a war. I've lost all my textbooks, everything. How can I go and when will I start? Take do a primary FRCS in January. Please tell him I come to see him. I've got a lot in the casualty department. So the secretary went and told him, and the secretary came back and said, the boss sent her back, and the boss says, you are going to sit the primary examination in January, and if you fail, look for another job. That was then. Anyway, I obeyed orders. Sat for a primary examination, luckily, I passed. Then I went to the main teaching hospital of the University of Manchester Medical School, the Manchester Royal Infirmary, to meet my senior registrar when I was doing my housemanship. So Nigel Keddy, when he saw me, what he said, Gabriel, are you real? You know, because message had gone around that I lost my life in the hostilities. And I said, I am very much alive. You can touch me. So Nigel was very nice, and he said, go and get your primary FRCS, and you start, we'll find you a job in Manchester Royal. And I said, is that supposed to be a joke? Yes, I studied medicine in the medical school at University of Manchester. I also did my clinicals at the Royal Infirmary. But that was that. In my class, there were only 2 of us from Africa, Kojo Owusu from Ghana and myself. And honestly, throughout the time I was doing my clinical work in Manchester Royal, I never saw even a cleaner of my race, even though personally in the medical school, I did not meet any discrimination. And I never asked why, not even a cleaner. But I said to Nigel, so when he said this, I didn't want to start expressing what I've just said. So I just said to Nigel, I've got my primary FRCS. He just shouted, no, it is not possible. You know? And I went with a photocopy of mine, and I showed it to him. And he just said, follow me. We ran to the administrative office. We advertised a job for SHO in surgery. And I want this gentleman with me to apply. So he was informed that the period of application had closed. He looked very frustrated and stood pondering for some time, then turned around to the gentleman and said, come on, do me a favor, squeeze his name in. So obviously my name was squeezed in because I was shortlisted for interview. I went for the interview. And out of the lot of us that went for the interview, I was accepted for the job. And then I said, and then one of the people interviewing me, Mr. Anscombe, said he has a contract with Park Hospital, David Hume. And we want this job to start in April. His contract does not end until August. How do we manage it? And then a man whom we all feared as medical students, Lloyd Griffiths, a Welsh man. He was the head of the Department of Orthopedic Surgery. We called him Lord G. The daughter, Gwenda, happened to be in my ear. And then once this man talked to her about releasing me to take up this job, look at Lord G, whom we all feared as students, shot up from his seat, went and stood in front of whoever made that suggestion and said, "Shut up, Anthony. You all should know this young man." I won't say all the complimentary things he said. You all ought to know this young man. He has come back to the United Kingdom to get his fellowship of the Royal College of Surgeons, and it is our duty to help him do it. I will immediately phone John Haggadon, who was my student, who was my house officer, who was my registrar, my senior registrar, and I made him a consultant. I will phone him immediately and say, "Release this gentleman. I want him to come and work for me." And he will release him immediately. And so it was. I was released immediately and found myself in the exalted Manchester Royal Infirmary. As students, we called it the box. You didn't have big gardens and so on. A bit boring. We prefer to go to smaller places, you know. So I started at Manchester Royal. That was 1972. And then I hadn't done up to 3-4 months. The then professor of surgery, Ian Gillespie, sent for me. I arrived in his office and he said, "Gabriel, I want you to do the final examination of the Royal College of Surgeons." And I said, "Sir, it is impossible. I haven't got postings in blah, blah, blah. You know, you got to do some postings, neurosurgery. I haven't done those postings, sir. How can I go and do?" He had it all on his table, and he showed me a clause, the rules and regulations of the Royal College. That in exceptional circumstances, an eminent fellow can recommend a candidate, you know, to sit the exam without all these requirements. And he turned to me, "Gabriel, do you think I'm such an eminent fellow?" And I said, "Yes, sir, you are." Passed a letter to me, which I was supposed to have written, applying to be given special permission to sit for the FRCS. So would you append your signature here? Appended my signature. And he showed me his supporting letter. 4 days later, I got a special permission from the Royal College Surgeons of Edinburgh to sit for the final examinations. And in February 1973, I went and sat for the examination. And happily, I was one of those who passed. And in July 1973, I was elected a fellow. One thing is to pass the exam. Then you've got to be elected a fellow. It's a formality. 2 people will propose you for election as a fellow. I was successfully elected. I've never heard of anybody who was not elected, anyway. But I remember the drama that took place at the Royal College. A day after the oral examinations, I went back with a fellow candidate, a Nigerian, Okem Bonu, who later on became a professor of surgery. And Okem Bonu, a Ghanaian, was number 299. Okem Bonu, number 300. And Gabriel Menaka, number 301. And in our batch, we went for the oral examinations in batches. In our batch, there were 64. And 5, we were told before we started finding out whether we passed or not, we were told that only 5 passed out of the 64. And you know that sort of thing. I sort of said, it's impossible for all of us to, 3 of us from West Africa to but so anyway, 2 of us passed. Unfortunately, the Ghanaian didn't pass. So I went back to Manchester Royal, and then a job was vacant at Bury and Rosendale Hospital, and Ian Gillespie asked me to apply for that job. I actually went to him. I wanted him to send me to Canada to continue with my... So he said, I will not send you to Canada because you are not going to get the best jobs there. But they had offered me a post of tutor in surgery to the university, which I turned down because I didn't intend to live in Britain at that time. To me, Nigeria was still a beautiful place. I wanted to come home one day. So I turned that down, and he said, okay, apply for this post in Bury and Rosendale. And I applied. Out of the whole lot of us who came for the interview, I got the job, and from there I resigned in 1974 and came back to Menas Hospital. In a nutshell, that is my story.
Well, according to all you've said and all I've been able to assimilate, I would proudly say you are a full package. And congratulations, sir, for putting the congratulations.
Thank you.
So I want to ask, is there any room for regrets? In one of your statements, you said then Nigeria was a beautiful place to live.
Yes.
You intended coming home.
Yes.
So now, do you wish you're not here? So maybe you're in Canada or somewhere else?
No. Actually, I've searched that in my I thought about it. I think as a medical practitioner, I feel wonderfully fulfilled being here. It's giving me the chance of innovate when the sophisticated equipment is there. There's always, if one put one's imagination into it, you can occasionally improvise. And I think I've felt fulfilled. I regret about not working, no way. Because in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, a lot of people would go to, say, Britain and do a locum. Somebody who is a consultant surgeon here will go and do a locum for a job meant for SHOs. Maybe I was professionally professionally too proud to take up a job just for the sake of making money. You know, I'm of a consultant status, then I go and do the job of an SHO, senior house officer, job for money. So what I did was I worked, maybe took a week or 2 weeks or so off to go to such places, just to rest, not to go into another job to make money. No, I have no regrets at all. I have fully enjoyed my practicing in Nigeria. Money is not everything. Money is not everything. You know, I've my experience, I wouldn't have had the experience, the exposure, the experience I've garnered over these years. By June this year, I will have been in continuous medical practice for 57 years. Yes. You know, so maybe one day I will retire. Yes.
Okay, so sir, let's bring this down to Nigeria,
Yes.
where we are. 57 years is a lifetime for most people.
Yes.
So how would you compare the medicals of Nigeria then? How would you compare then and now?
It will be very difficult for me because I've been practicing in Menax Hospital all these years, and I have not honestly gone out of my way to look over any other practitioners, over anybody's shoulder to find out how they're practicing. I try to shut myself up into that cocoon of Menax Hospital. I want to do my best there. I don't really want to concern myself very much about what others are doing. Because like every other thing, old teachers feel that old teachers are frustrated because of how teaching is done and so on and so forth. You understand what I mean? So I try not to look over anybody's shoulder. But 70s. And now Nigerians worship money more than anything else. As a very junior doctor in the 60s, I was better respected. I mean, nobody would. People abuse me nowadays. You're a stupid doctor and all that, you know. In fact, one woman, one occasion, I got a woman who was, I've forgotten what happened, you know, and she said, "You're a very foolish person," you know. And I looked at her and said, "How did you know?" You know, people have been telling me this, you know. And I told her, "No, don't worry. I know, and a lot of people know I am very foolish, you know." I mean that, and then she looked stupid when I said that.
Yeah.
You know, if I had started shouting at her, I would go into an unnecessary altercation. But I just said to her, so you knew also I'm foolish. Not only you, so many, you know. Yes.
Wow, that's a lot, sir. Thank you. Okay, I love write-ups a lot.
Okay.
For me, it goes a long way to tell what a man or a person represents.
Okay.
So I've been actually eyeing that desiderata. So that's the right pronunciation.
Yes.
Yes. So, and I'm seeing the other one, if.
Yes.
So what are your? I can actually take from all you've said the kind of visions you have.
Yes.
But tell us in your word what it is for you.
What?
What your visions are.
At 85?
Of course. It may. Okay, let me make this clear.
Let me put it this way.
Okay.
If you are a doctor and your knowledge is limited to medicine, then you are not educated. You must have an educated person is somebody who can intelligently discuss different things. I had a young man with me yesterday. His name is Nelson. And playing some music in my car. I was driving. And I just said to Nelson, "Do you know I admire musicians? I think they're more talented than me." And he said, "How can?" And I said, "Look, simple things. I can't beat the drum, the gong, and I can't play I would love to play them, but I can't. And I regard anybody I see them doing that, you know. I said, that guy is more intelligent than me. You know, and he went on, blah, 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 blah. You know, and I said to him, I think it takes less training to be a surgeon than it takes to play the piano. You know. No, I love things like this. I love to, you know, what I envisaged in the 70s, a beautiful garden where I can sit in the evening and read my books, not medical books, but another book. And, well, you said it is not late. So I still read, I still try to acquire knowledge in other spheres other than medicine. I think that will make me, I want to be educated. So I'm still striving to be educated by looking at other things. I love literature. I wish I could write. Can even a letter of 5 sentences. I can speak from man till kingdom come, but to write is a problem.
So doctors, you see things every day, everywhere.
Yes.
This could come off as personal.
Yes.
What is the most touching thing you've seen or done all through your years of this practice? Something, even if you're sleeping and you're woken too, and this question is being asked.
Yes, I don't want to be specific for medical confidentiality, but I have really had some cases which I thought was hopeless, and the people recovered. I can name a few. And when I think back at those cases, it gives me so much those particular cases that are to me remarkable, and it makes me go back to that old saying. Yes, I'm a doctor. Yes, I'm a surgeon. What is my contribution to healing? It goes back to where the people we looked at in the history of medicine said years ago. Lord Osler, I dress the wound, but God heals it. And every day you see it. We're only honestly dressing wounds. You can say dressing them well. The rest is left for God to heal. So I have a lot of remarkable memories, and they keep me going. Occasionally when I'm sleeping, I remember one of them, and I feel comfortable with myself. Yes.
I'm happy that you still have something you can look back to and be passionate
Yes,
for your job.
yes.
So this one right now is a hearsay. Someone said you wanted to be a lawyer before now.
Yes, that was in the 50s.
Okay, so what happened, sir?
What happened is that I was told. Now, let me tell you the story. I wanted to read law. I was fascinated going to court, seeing the lawyers and the judge, and I said to myself, boy, you can stand there and blow grammar from now till eternity. And then my eldest brother, late Igwe of Umunye, who graduated in 1947, I was teaching in New Bethel College. He wanted to see me in his house in Enugu. He was an inspector of education then. So I arrived late, and he said to me, there was an accident at Omonachi area. I helped to evacuate the victims. So we sat down, and he went straight to the point and told me that when he grew up, he didn't have the choices I have. He didn't have the luxury of wanting to do engineering or whatever. Followed the teaching thing, graduated in geography out of personal hard work. But now, I was the last born of 7 of us. I had the beautiful luxury. I can choose and pick what I wanted to do. That's what I said. The time, 10 a.m., at 10 p.m. And he said, now, what would you like to pursue? What career? Have you thought about it? I said, yes, sir, with confidence. What? And I said, law, sir. I have never known my brother so enraged. He got up, went to the front door, opened it and said, get out. I said, what have I done, sir? He said, just get out. I didn't know you were a hooligan. That was his language. And I said, sir, I'll do anything you want me to do. Forget all about law or whatever, you know? Nobody could hold him, but I should get out, you know? And not only out of the house, but out of the compound. It was getting to 11 p.m. I didn't know any other person in Enugu. And if you know where Katanaka Avenue is, near the old government house, that night I had to trek from that place to Obwete. I wasn't even allowed to sleep under a tree in the compound. So I got to Obwete and there was what do you call them, tipper, carrying coal down to Onitsha. Had them discussing, I hitched a lift with them, enjoying myself with the cargo of coal. We arrived on Onitsha at about 2 a.m. I was living at Mosisi Lane near late Speaker of the Eastern House Assembly, Ebuna, near his house. That's where I was living. So that was the end of law. And then up came, you see, my brother had it in mind. He wanted me to be a doctor. He never said it, you know. So that's how I got myself doing medicine and forgot all about law, you know. And yes, that's.
So it won't be wrong to say that your brother's reaction led you to this.
Yes, it did. It did. It did. And it did. And two of my best friends, a government college of mine, but later, I was going to betray them by doing law. But later on, it turned out that they were the ones who betrayed me by doing law. You know, because two of my best friends were Nandi Onu and Nathaniel Nandi Onu from Obosi. He did law. And Godi Ononiba, retired Chief Judge of Anambra State, he did law. We were all we were thinking of doing medicine. At government college, we called ourselves the scientists. And it was, we would like to fail history and things like that. So it was later on I found that those two actually betrayed me by doing law. And I was very happy. I was the only one standing. We all wanted to do medicine because we were scientists, as we called ourselves. Yes.
That was a very funny one, though. thank you for not making this interview boring.
I hope not.
It's not. It's not. I can pledge. Okay, sir. With the chunk of, with the depth of knowledge you have in this practice,
Yes.
is there anything you have to tell medical practitioners now, or the doctors that are upcoming here in Nigeria? Is there anything you think? I know you don't leave the Menax cocoon to see what else the other places are doing, but then statistically,
Yes.
we can relate and the death rate and whatnot. Is there any form of advice you have to give them to live by?
Medical people.
Yes, medical people. Life in
To
general.
be quite honest, no. There should be a rebirth of Nigeria. It's not only medicine, anything you want to think of, every profession. If we are going to, there must be a reset in Nigeria. There must be a reset. There must be a reset because, I mean, you are young, yes. As they say in one of the songs, things ain't what they used to be. And when you say it, the younger ones will look at it that you are throwing a challenge to them, thinking everything you people did. Yes. But I think there should be a national reset, not only in medicine. And my wife is a lawyer. They need a reset more than doctors. The architects need a reset. Everybody, the laborer needs a reset. The keke people need a reset. There is no discipline. You've got to start with discipline before you start talking about that. Everybody, there should be a reset. You've got to find out who are doctors in Nigeria and who are not. You've got to find out who are allowed to treat ill patients and who are not. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody gives prescriptions because people are fond of shortcuts. You go through the shortcut, eventually it becomes a question of penny wise, pound foolish.